Okay.
Last topic.
Last topic is Mr. Dio Brando.
Oh, me.
Yeah, that's you, Dio. Oh, sorry. It's me, Dio!
Yeah.
So CM Punk, as a UFC fighter, as an MMA fighter, I should say. My general thought on it is he had 2 years to train, went through the process. Definitely respect just for going through the process and stepping in there. I don't care. I mean, I've read and I've heard and I've listened to interviews and stuff. I mean, if you're going in a cage, man, to go and fight one-on-one, I mean, that right there is that's props. And you're coming in 2 years, zero experience, coming into fighting this 24-year-old who's got four matches under his belt. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a brown belt or so. I mean, to me, it's like, dude, it's like what he says, man. That's kind of it's an inspiration, I mean, for those who said that you can't, all the people that have, said that you can't do this, or, they're going to make fun of you, whether or not you get blown up, you get, destroyed. The fact is, I've got respect, and I definitely look at CM Punk with more respect for being able to leave, like, a lavish lifestyle that he had, whether he's being underused or whatever his, the stories are. But for him to come in and do what he did and say what he was going to do, what he was going to do, win or lose, he got in there and, he went big and went hard. Didn't get the W, but went in.
Yeah, I've always liked Punk. More of his, like, the straight edge mentality, obviously. But, like, he spoke his mind, and obviously that's not, it doesn't agree with everybody else. Like, he says what he wants to say. Doesn't really hold back too much, which I respected, because, I mean, I'd like to be able to do that, but, I don't want to do that also at the same time.
Right.
Sometimes, sometimes you just gotta let things, bygones be bygones or whatever, just let it slide. Because if you do it all the time, obviously you're not gonna have connectivity with anybody, really. You're gonna be in seclusion if you're just spitting off at people left and right. So, I definitely agree with you. Like, his speech afterward, like, I was sold on that. That was awesome. And I wouldn't even imagine stepping in there and doing that, whether it was at that level or even an amateur level, doing that whatsoever. So I respect him for that. I wish he treated some people better outside of UFC and this whole thing in general. Because, like, I've heard numerous stories where he's been a dick. So, I mean, I wish he was nicer that way, but, I mean, everybody is their own person, so I can't really, you need to be nicer because of this and that. No, I mean, you do you, and as long as he's not physically hurting anybody, I don't care. Do you. So, I'm a fan, but there's some things I would like better, but yeah, I can't really change that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I like CM Punk. I think he's better as a WWE wrestler. It's kind of stupid that, like, he would get a shot at the UFC when there are guys right now that I know who are working their tail off just to go pro, and they're doing everything they can just to get them to even notice who they are. And then CM Punk just says, "Oh yeah, I have no training, I have no nothing. I want to go to the UFC." "Oh, okay, Dana White, can I go to the UFC?" "Yeah, sure." Like, that's bullcrap. There are guys who are working 10 times harder than he did. He's taken jiu-jitsu a couple times. I'm not saying he's not a hard worker. I'm just saying that, there are guys out there right now that deserve it more than he does right now. He hasn't really done anything than a couple of jiu-jitsu classes. And I mean, now that he's in the UFC, he's probably been working his tail off. I mean, how long did he last? About a minute? I know it was first round. It was like a minute 30 or something.
I was like a couple. I think he got
Fact check.
Like halfway through the round, I think.
Keep going. Keep talking. I'll find it.
But for him to last, as long as he did, that's impressive. That means he put the work in. But another thing is, like, I found out how much that guy got paid, like how much CM Punk got paid for that, like $500,000. That's ridiculous. $500,000 for a UFC match. There are guys in the UFC right now that are top tier champion guys who don't get paid that much sometimes. You know, like the way that the payout ratio work. I watched the ESPN short or thing when they interviewed them, and it made it look at them like they weren't paying their guys enough, and they kind of don't. Like some guys, they only get $150,000 a year, or not $150,000 a year, $150,000 for their contract altogether. Like they signed for 10 fights, they get $150,000. That's it. It's a great great contract. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to do that, but if you only fight 3 fights and you lose those 3 fights and they kick you out, that's all they give you. They only give you a portion of that $150,000, to my knowledge. So it's like for him to come in and get a $500,000, like he's just a mouthpiece right now for the UFC. Until he can actually win a fight, I'm not impressed. Like I'm not impressed at all. I'm glad from the standpoint of him losing, he's not being a sore loser. That's awesome. That's him being an awesome human being, and I love that. But I'm not impressed with him as a fighter because he has no real skills. He should have done the work like everyone else had to do. Go through the amateurs and work your way up to the pros and go from there. Actually put in the hard labor work that needed to be done and then go for your connections. You know, if you didn't want to be in the WWE, get out of the WWE. Focus full time on working out and doing the MMA stuff, but don't go straight to the UFC because people are gonna. It's like a first round draft pick in the NFL. You're expected to produce. You're not expected. Oh yeah, he give him a season or two. No, he's expected to win games. He's expected to get numbers. So pretty much CM Punk didn't produce. No, everyone knew that he wouldn't produce, but it was acted as he was drafted as a first overall draft pick.
2 minutes, 13 seconds.
So, wow, 2 minutes. That's actually pretty impressive. That's impressive that he lasted that long. But, you know, for that to go that long, like...
Okay. Dad?
Yeah, well, first I want to echo Dio's and Brett's comments in terms of, Punk as a worker in the view that we know him through the WWE. And he was a good worker in the ring there, both as a face and a heel. He pulled off the personalities well, again on both sides. To be honest, John, I don't follow, so I didn't know anything about the lead up to the fight or the fight itself. I did see the post-fight interview. I'm thinking his pay was probably based on his rep, and he was a known entity, like a Lesnar where they bring in for a show. Yeah. And so that's why he probably got what he got, if that's what they probably had. I mean, most of the stuff I heard, they didn't expect him to do very well. So, and in the post-fight conference, I thought he was very humbled, whether it was just because that's how he would have been anyway, or because he got his ass beat. But either way, I think that for him, I think that came off well. If anybody thought any differently of him before, maybe that changed somebody's attitude about him. But in terms of what I've seen, that's all I saw. So I can only say based on that.
Yeah.
I think he handled it well. He could have been, he could have played it up, or he could have, put on a heel like he, or whatever. But I think he handled it well, and whether we'll see him again, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I heard something about they're setting him up for another fight. Yeah. I definitely think that he's definitely at the bottom, and they put him with a bottom contender, so it makes sense. But like the whole Brock Lesnar thing, the thing that's different between Brock Lesnar and CM Punk, like I agree with you. Bring Brock Lesnar in and give him $5 million, like, give him close to $1 million because of his reputation. Yeah, CM Punk has the reputation, but he doesn't have the skill to back up his reputation.
No, sure. Yeah.
So, like, if the one thing that CM Punk is amazing at is his mouth, he can put on a show just by speaking, and that's why I love him. He's great. I think in my opinion, if the UFC career thing doesn't work out for him, I would love to see him back in the WWE just because of his mic skills and how well he puts on a show and how well he is just a jerk. You love to hate him type. He's a great heel. I've never seen a heel that amazing. I can remember just like, oh, come on, lose the belt. Oh, why didn't you lose the damn belt? But then I want to watch it next Monday to see what he does. So I would love for him in the WWE to work out their differences, whatever they may be, and him go back if UFC doesn't work out for him. I mean, I don't want him to be out on the streets without a job. I mean, he seems like a stand-up guy from everything. I've seen interviews of him outside of the show, if you will, and he doesn't seem like a terrible, mean person. It's an act, but so I definitely want the UFC career to work for him. I want to see him do well in it. I mean, he is a little bit older, so it probably won't bear fruit. But yeah, I mean, if it doesn't work out, I would love to see him go back to the WWE and work things out with Vince.
I'm just surprised in general someone can make that kind of switch.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how Lesnar does it, because you go from one venue where you can't smack
actually
somebody,
yeah,
and the other venue you absolutely can. And so how do you mentally when I get in there I'm doing a certain thing, just habit takes over.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do that.
I think it had to definitely come from his background as an actual wrestler, like he wrestled.
Lesnar started first, but
yeah,
for Punk this had to be terribly
huge,
different.
Yeah, huge change. Because I think he's been wrestling since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Since he was 18 years old, he's been wrestling. I don't think he's done anything else, has he?
No.
So
self-trained, everything. Yeah.
So yeah, this is completely a step out of everything. That's why I want it to work for him. I really want to see him work. I want to see him get through it and get through these growing pains, because it's like if he can do that, like dude, the UFC is like the top, top
for
plateau
sure.
right now. I think right now it's people talk about it more than boxing. Like boxing, I feel is a dying sport at the moment. I mean, yeah, like you make a lot of money off of those fights, and people still watch them. Like big name people watch
You
them.
just don't hear it as often anymore.
Like now that Floyd Mayweather's retired, I think boxing is probably going to die in the next 10 years, 20 years. It's not going to be what it used to be. It's definitely going to die, and UFC is going to be more of a bigger sport because it has a wider range of martial arts. It's not just the art of punching someone. There's kicks, there's grabs, there's submissions, there's throws. I mean, me personally, I like the throws and the submissions. Yeah, I'm okay with knockouts. Like if I want to watch knockouts, I'll go and watch Mike Tyson's highlights. Every time I see those, I'm like, ooh. But yeah, I just think that right now, at the level he's at right now, he's got a lot of work to do for a UFC career. I definitely don't think he's championship material just yet. He's got a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Cool. CM Punk. Alright, well that wraps up episode 4 of Wait, What Were We Talking About, the podcast. Alright, every time we do this, if you guys are brand new, remember we bring a new topic to the table, discuss it for your entertainment, hopefully have some fun with that. New guests, old guests, people randomly from the street. No, not that. But if you have some topics that you'd like us to discuss, remember, comment below, hit me up on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, wherever you can reach me. Hit me up with those, and maybe they'll make it onto the show. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, guests, Dad, John, and Dio from Portland for joining us. And Billy from Cortland. We'll miss you, buddy. But yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode with new guests or something or other. But yeah, in the meantime, guys, have a good one. Peace out.